One of the questions I've been asked many times is, following Yeshua, are you self-sufficient? Well, let me tell you the definition of self-sufficient. I took 3 different dictionary sources for this definition. Self-sufficient, able to supply one's own needs without external assistance, able to provide for oneself without the help of others, needing no outside help in satisfying one's basic needs, especially in regards to production of food. Well, that right there should tell you the answer. The answer is no. I'm not self-sufficient. You heard me make the mention of the word self-sufficient, and you notice that I say I strive for it. I move in that direction. But the reality of it is a lot of people who say, I'm self-sufficient, they're speaking in a lot of pride. I believe that if there are any that are truly self-sufficient, it's very, 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 very few. And they're probably, and this is just my estimate, my guess, they're probably not in this country. I was watching a video of a guy in Siberia, and you could say he was self-sufficient. I mean, this guy fished, he hunted, but he made his own everything. He made his own bows, he made his own arrows, he made his own twine to create tension on the bow. He made his own fishing line, his own hooks, everything. He could literally go out and lived in the wilderness and literally had very little external help. But even he said in his own language, through his family, who were being used as interpreters, that even he needs outside help sometimes. There's certain things that he can't get. So it makes me think of the word self-sufficient. Even if you look at the food, the ability to produce food. You know, a lot of people, I'm self-sufficient. Well, do you produce all of your own food? Everything that you eat, do you produce it? I can say no. I produce about 75% to 80% of my own meat. I produce 100% of my own vegetables. I produce 0%, 10% of my grains. Make our own spaghetti sauce, salsas, seasonings. But check this out. Rice, I don't grow my own rice. I don't have whole fields of wheat that I could then take, harvest, grind down, and make my own pastas or breads. How many of us eat breads? Well, I go to the store and buy my wheat. You go to the store and buy your wheat. It doesn't make you self-sufficient. It just means that you're not buying the already made grain, or you're not buying the already made pasta. You're just buying the wheat and then making the pasta at your house. How many of us have tools? Do you use gasoline in your tools? Do you use a tool? If you have a chainsaw, and I'm about to take down a couple trees right now. Do you have a chain sharpener? Do you use oil, gasoline? When your spark plug goes out, do you produce spark plugs? See, that word's so big. What that word does is that word says, I don't need anybody else. And that's an impossible thing for us to say. Because we don't like to admit that we need other people. So even in striving for self-sufficiency, I'm not really striving for solely self-sufficiency, because I always know there's going to be a need that I have of other people. Well, you make your own energy. You're on solar. Right, I am on solar, and hallelujah for that. But do you realize that if one of my solar panels goes out, or if a wire shorts, or if my inverter shorts out, or if my charge controller goes out, or if my batteries are bad, I don't know how to make those things. So I'm depending on somebody else to make it so that I can then trade my time for money and then trade that money for another panel. So I think we speak in a lot of pride sometimes, saying that we are this and we are that, and we're not. Most people can't even say, if not all in this country, can't even say they produce 100% of their food. We just don't like the idea. It makes us feel good. Well, I'm self-sufficient. No, you're not. No, you're not. Even if you have to go out and work, you're still dependent on somebody else needing work to be done on their property, on their house, in their store, for you to make money, then trade that money for other stuff that you need. How many of us, now I do this, but how many of us harvest our own seeds so that we can have seeds for the next season? So you can't even say you're truly food dependent or food independent, because you still need another place to produce the seeds that you then buy, then you then plant in your soil. If you have goats or sheep or chickens, do you produce your chicken feed? Do you produce all of your goat feed, or do you buy hay? If you buy hay, you're not self-sufficient because somebody else has to produce it. Even if you trade for hay, that means that you still are requiring external help. You get what I'm saying? So even in food production, you still need outside external sources for you to have your food. So no, I produce a lot of my food. I have incubators that I built with lumber that I did not produce. Even if you have a mill, you still have to get gasoline for that mill, oil for that mill. Your blades go out. You can sharpen your own blades, but in order to sharpen your own blades, you need files. And most of us don't have working forges, lumber mills. We don't manufacture our own tools. We don't do that sort of stuff. Because in order to manufacture your own tools, you still had to go out and have somebody else make the things that you need to manufacture your own tools. So this idea of self-sufficiency, I'm just trying to put it in a proper perspective for us. It's not really, a lot when we speak about that term, we usually speak out of term. We truly don't understand what being self-sufficient means. Because if you actually look at the totality of it all, we're so far away from it. We're so far away from even just producing our own food. That's how far we are. Do you have storage bags? Where'd you get those from? Foil. Where'd you get that from? I'm building a smokehouse. Guess what I need to have a smokehouse? I had to have the lumber that I didn't produce to build the smokehouse. Even when you see that our outdoor cook station, you do notice that the grill on top, I didn't make that metal grate. I used the rocks from the land. I used the clay mixed with sand so it would harden. But you notice I still had a metal grate. I think that we have to get to a place of humility. We have to get to a place of understanding that, hey, I need other people. We need our brothers. We need our sisters. Now, could I produce food here to the level where I would not need outside sources? Sure. But there goes your rice, unless I decide to grow it. There goes the pastas, because I don't have a field big enough yet to grow enough wheat to produce pasta. I have amaranth. I have lots of amaranth. I have lots of amaranth growing here that I could grind down and make breads and tortillas. But do you know that if I harvested all the amaranth I have here and ground it all down, I may get enough bread for a month? Maybe. After that, I'd be out. This is why even in the Bible, men had servants. Because looking at this, you look at biblical principles and biblical applications of biblical things. Our ancient people spent most of their time producing food. That's what their focus was. Producing food so that they could eat. And they spent all day, every day, almost every day doing that. So let's just get the understanding, hey, we need our brothers. We need our brothers. If you're a brother over there and you have beef, but I'm producing 70, 80, 90, 100 eggs a day, hey, maybe we can work an exchange. I can exchange you some of my eggs for some of your beef. Hey, I have ample gardens. We make our own seasonings. I'll trade you a pound of my seasoning for some of your meat. Shit, how many of us have salt mines? How many of us even know how to harvest salt? You do know salt's a requirement for life, right? And if you're not producing your own salt, how dare you say you're self-sufficient? I'm just saying, let this be a lesson for us so that we can understand that we need our brothers and our sisters. We need our brothers, man, we need each other. Let's get over that pride. Well, I don't need anybody else because I'm just self-sufficient. No, you're not. And to be honest, it'd be a shame if y'all called your bluff because you want to tell everybody how self-sufficient you are. When all you have to do is humbly say, hey, every day I work towards some level of self-sufficiency. Bless y'all. I hope you have a blessed second day. I'm going to take these trees down so I can use this wood next year in my stove. Shalom. Oh, the stove that I didn't make. That somebody else made, manufactured, and I just bought it. Bless y'all. Shalom.